The big thing that I'm finding is that when we exercise at the same time, we don't have that roller coaster ride. And once you get to the body that you're kind of wanting, or that you have envisioned in your head, and you reach that point, that you get to stay there. And I'm going to get into that in a slide coming up next too. But we already know that the cardiovascular strength and endurance and flexibility and reduced muscular joint pain, that those are all benefits that we get from just being more physically active too. And then of course, if you just enjoy it, like if you are the runner who had the question, if you just enjoy running and it's something that you look forward to every day and it's a stress releaser, then of course we wouldn't say get rid of your running because, you know, this is something that makes you happy. So there's definitely ways to incorporate that in. So again, that question is kind of like, where do I on this green bar right here decide that I'm going to incorporate exercise back in? So I'm going to go on out here and say that if you have the ability to do a body composition, that's going to be more of a great indicator of how successful your program is being once you've incorporated exercise. Okay, the scale becomes no longer the gold standard of body composition. I'm sorry, of success, right? So if you're just getting lighter, you know, if you were to lose 5 pounds of fat and also lose 5 pounds of lean body mass, your body fat percentage would be exactly the same. So generally what we're looking at is maintaining or increasing lean body mass while dropping fat. And that's what's going to cause that scale, or that, when I say scale, I mean this scale of body composition rankings of actually dropping down, okay? So some people will just straight up say, look, I want to drop the weight and then I want to start exercise. But this is the one word of caution that I want to ask you. Are you emotionally prepared to add weight once you've reached your goal? So a lot of the initial inflammation that we lose is a result of us burning through the glycogen in our muscles. The only way to get the glycogen out of your muscle is to actually be active. So this is why some people, especially larger people, you have a 6'5" gentleman who's on program, can tap into fat burn literally clockwork, like day 2, day 3, because of the amount of lean body mass and the amount of glycogen that's actually coming back in. Versus sometimes we have our shorter individuals who might take 3, 4, 5, sometimes 7 to 10 days to break into fat burn because they haven't utilized the glycogen, especially if they're inactive. So once we see that, we know somebody's in fat burn, right? I mean, how many times have we got that phone call? I'm in day 3, I'm down 3 pounds and I feel amazing, right? And then sometimes you'll have that call on day 4 and they're like, you know, I'm not feeling it yet. What's going on? How much weight have you lost? Well, I've lost 1 pound. So that's usually a pretty good indicator that they haven't achieved fat burn at that point. So now we go over our period of time, whether this is 6 months or a year or whatever the case is, for you to get to your ideal scale weight. And let's pretend that that's 150 pounds. Okay, your goal weight that you set for yourself and the number that you're focusing on every single day for 6 months to a year is 150. Okay, and we hit that 150 mark and we say, yay, I'm finally going to start to go into a program where I'm incorporating carbohydrates back in. And what we know about carbohydrates, again, with the glycogen, is that we're going to immediately see a 3 to 6 pound increase because we bring glycogen back in. It's going to fill the muscle cells first, and then it's going to add that water because the water is attached to that molecule. And we see that 3 pound increase. And then now all the emotional stuff starts happening. What did I do wrong? What's going on? What's the issue with this? I must have screwed up. I must have ate the wrong food. I must, you know, maybe I have to go back on 5 and 1. I'm not ready for this. But this is just a natural thing that happens. So what I tell my clients a lot of times is if this really is your true ideal weight at 150, let's get down to 147 or 145 before we start incorporating back in to make sure that we don't have that shock element. Because if that's been a goal number for somebody for so long, it can be very disappointing when you see that number disappear the next day. And then we start to incorporate exercise. And had we, you know, if we started doing this weight loss program without incorporating exercise, sometimes we'll have a loss of lean body mass as well. And once we start incorporating exercise to do the activities that we want to do, we're going to see another anywhere from 6 to 8 pound increase of lean body mass to reconstitute the body to do the activities that you're asking it to do. So that again, so now where we ended is instead of 150, we're actually at 156. And if we were to do this at the same time that we lose the fat mass, we might find ourselves riding this wave right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, I hope so. Straight across here, right? And we might actually determine that once we get to 156, that you have that body that you've envisioned you wanting to have, and you're at a healthy weight and you're feeling really great. There'd be no reason to drop down to that 150 because you're already at a healthy weight and a healthy musculature. Okay, so that's the point I want to make, is that that's why that body composition right here might be right across here at 22%. It might be almost perfect for where you want to be. There would be no reason to drop down below that had you done an exercise program at the same time. Now, going back to that question, is that yes, your scale weight's going to be slowed down, because if you drop 10 pounds but you add 2 pounds of muscle, you only have an 8-pound loss. Right? So you're like, oh man, I should have been moving a little bit faster than this. But no, not if the muscle mass is increasing at the same time. So that's where that can be deceiving. And even though, again, you might see 2 to 4, 6 inches coming off the waist, coming off the hips, all the areas that you wanted to get rid of, your clothes are fitting better. We've all experienced that. Even with no change on the scale weight, all of a sudden we're like, whoa, I'm fitting into these pants a lot better, but my scale weight hasn't changed. What's going on with that? And that's losing that fat mass while maintaining or gaining lean body mass.